I'm just dying here waiting for the last book. Hello everyone, my name is Alfredo and welcome back to Wayfaring Reader. Now in this video today, I'm going to do a full-fledged, in-depth, spoilery review of Tower of Dawn. I've already briefly talked about this in my September wrap-up. However, this book is so long and so many things are going on that I just felt it deserved a more long and in-depth review of it. I will be doing a brief spoiler-free section for those of you who have reached this point in the TOG fandom but aren't sure if they should continue, just to convince you that you really should read this. Now, Tower of Dawn is the story of Kael and Nesryn Philique as they travel to Antica, the southern continent of the Stone of Glass world, to convince, with two missions, to convince the royal family of Antica the Caganate, which I'm probably butchering right now, that name, but yeah, to convince them to enter the war in support of Aelin, and also to see if Kael can come back from the wounds he suffered in Queen of Shadows. Now, I love this book, I can't even with it. 5 out of 5 stars, I'm obsessed with it. And honestly, this book is my favorite in the Throne of Glass series just because we don't have the squad in it. So I've noticed a pattern in which Sarah J. Maas shines writing these novels in which she kind of puts the characters in a really dark place and she evolves them into this place where they face their demons, where they know who they are and they can judge and have this critical sense of things, and kind of they evolve into a better person than they were before. Now we saw this in A Court of Mist and Fury, in Air of Fire, and now again in Tower of Dawn, and she's just brilliant at doing that, at creating these really complex characters where they make deep mistakes, which is really what we see with Kael, because people were not happy with what she did with him in Queen of Shadows because he just acted really badly there. But he is held accountable for that in this book, especially by himself, which I loved, and he kind of faces those demons and we get to see why he acted that way and why he had that behavior. And I think that's just so good and so brilliant of her to have done that. But again, 5 out of 5 stars. Now, if you didn't know, you do have to read Tower of Dawn to read the final book because, oh my god, the revelations at the end of this book, I can't even deal with them. And I'm just trying to talk about them with you because, oh my god. So that's all for this spoiler-free section. Just go and read it if you were hesitant. It's Sarah J. Maas at her finest. I can't even. I'm crying so much. I loved it so much. So if you haven't read it, just really go and then come back and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Now for the more spoilery and more detailed kind of review of this book. Now, Tower of Dawn begins with Kael and Nesryn reaching Antica and kind of meeting the royal family. Now, this family, let me tell you, oh my god, they're just such a messed up family, and also the kind of heritage to the throne system they kind of follow was super interesting because it doesn't follow kind of the eldest of the siblings has direct access to the crown. It follows that the king kind of Antica, because I do believe king was not the word they used, but kind of the equivalent, he gets to choose which of his children will ascend to the throne. So essentially it becomes kind of this power struggle between all of them, in which none of them are really tight with each other, and we really get to see this with some characters. But it was really interesting. However, some of these characters are just so messed up. There's, I think, the eldest brother who is so horrible, I don't remember his name, but we've got Hazar, who I love her, but she is just so twisted that if you have her for a friend, why do you need enemies? Oh my god, but still, I just love her and she's just so kick-ass, I can't even. Sartak, I also really loved, and I loved his relationship with kind of the writers. I don't remember their name. I just loved him so much. And so those were two kind of really important characters throughout this novel. alongside Kale and Nesrin, but also we get to see an oldie, and I just loved it so much. We got to see Irene again, Irene Towers. If you don't know, she appeared in The Assassin's Blade, which you should have read by this point in the Throne of Glass series if you haven't. Oh my god. And just the relationships between all of these characters is just so good. Now, one thing I really want to talk about is the romance of this novel. I really thought Kale and Nesrin would be together by the end of it, but it wasn't like that, and I'm so glad, because even though I kind of like them together, I think as friends they make such a stronger team, and I just love it so much. I loved seeing how Irene and Kale's relationship evolves from kind of this animosity Irene feels towards him because he is a soldier from Rifthold, and the soldiers from Rifthold were responsible for her mother's death, and that's why she kind of holds this resentment towards Aurelia in general, but especially the king and his kind of lackeys, if you want to call them like that. It considers Kale as well, but progressively, as she kind of gets to know him, she realizes he's not like that. And that was also kind of a really nice transition from her also confronting her fears, because just this novel in general is people confronting their demons and just coming out victorious, which I loved so much. From Nesrin, it was really nice to see her story, getting to know her background, and just in general, it was really, really enjoyable. And I just loved her relationship with Sartak. It was just so enjoyable to see her like meet all these tribes of riders. The action of this novel kind of starts off when there's an attack at the Torre Sesame, which is kind of the tower where all the healers live and where all the healers help people. So there's an attack at the library, and we kind of get the sense that the attack was directed towards Irene, but the victim was another. And immediately Kale gets a feeling that this attack is has been made by the Valk, and kind of panic erupts inside of him and Nesrin, because they know what these creatures can do, because they've seen it in Aurelia, and they're scared that they have reached the shores of Antica. So throughout the novel, we're kind of dealing with what is happening. Is it a Valk? Is it not? But there's that kind of counterposition with the story Nesrin leads, first trying to find the Valk, and then kind of traveling to the southern part of the southern continent with Sartak, to this tribe that kind of flies these enormous eagles, which, can we talk about the eagles, because I'm loving them, to kind of find answers. And it blew my mind what they found out there. Spiders. Can we just talk about the spiders? Because oh my god, the spiders. Like, if you've read The Assassin's Blade, you know Selena meets a merchant, which turns out to be Falcon, which is, oh my god, let me talk about Falcon later. But he sells her a piece of spider silk, which, well, I'm not going to tell the story, but he sells her a piece of spider silk, and they kind of talk about the spiders, which again are mentioned, I believe, by the Black Beaks in Air of Fire or in Queen of Shadows, I'm not sure. But here we really get to see them, and oh my god, just the spiders are essentially Valk and these creatures of darkness protecting this kind of portal where the Valk Queen came down of, because, okay, it turns out there isn't just one Valk King. There are 3 of them, okay, but that's not all. It turns out there's a Valk Queen, and you know who that is? It's Maeve. It's freaking Maeve, like Selena's aunt, and oh my god, I can't even. I was just gasping, and I couldn't believe this revelation. I was like, what is happening? Now everything clicks. Now we know why the events at the end of Emperor of Storms happened. Oh my god, what is happening? Like, I was left breathless. I couldn't believe this. Sarah J. Maas is such a brilliant author for having twisted things so much that we'd never see this coming. Oh my god. Yeah, we're not just dealing with Erewhon, which was the initial Valk King we knew about, but also with Orcus, and then another brother which I don't know the name of, and then Maeve. Turns out Maeve came to this world escaping from those three Val Kings. Still she's evil. I don't think she's not evil, she's evil. But she escaped from them, and she mind-controlled kind of Mav and Mora and just everyone in general to think, first of all, that she was Fae, and second of all, that she was their sister, which is just, oh my freaking god. That's why when the Val Kings came, they didn't recognize her because she kind of protected herself and veiled herself among the Fae as a Fae queen in this impenetrable kind of kingdom of hers. Oh my god, what is gonna happen? I don't know. I'm thinking about doing like kind of a predictions video down along the line. Probably I'll have to reread the whole series, which is freaking long, but I would love to do that. And do a kind of predictions video because I have no idea. With this news, I don't know what's gonna happen. Back with the spiders, we kind of find out that they are much more savage than the spiders in the northern continent, which create the spiders. So these typically eat people. And so Nesrin and Sartak decide to go to these watchtowers to kind of find out if they can discover more things about the Valg. And they end up captured basically by these spiders. That's kind of when kind of the head spider tells Nesrin everything, thinking that they would die. In the end, they don't, thankfully, because oh my god. So it's like the angst I was fearing, I was like feeling for them, I couldn't even. And then we get the revelation also, because this was just revelation after revelation. Lysandra is still a family, and that's Falcon. Falcon the merchant who sold Selena spider silk in the Assassin's Blade is Lysandra's uncle. And oh my god, I can't even. I was just like, this can't be. And he was about to die. Thankfully he didn't, because I was like, oh my god, Lysandra. She's gonna be like, oh yeah, you have an uncle, but he's dead. Hooray. But while all this is happening, Ines and Sartak are kind of trying to figure out what is happening with the spiders, because they've been stealing their kind of giant eagle's eggs. Back in the capital, Kale and Irene are still working in this injury. And Irene it was kind of weird reading about it and kind of imagining it, because it's kind of Irene healing him. I imagined it as if she got kind of mind transported into kind of this darkness and she had to push it back. And the way she pushed it back was kind of going through Kale's memories and giving him good memories of hers with her mother, which was really a really emotional moment. So Kale starts to walk. Like, she manages to push out the darkness, and even if the darkness tries to cling, Kale manages to walk finally. They finally heal. It turns out that Irene's kind of mentor, the head of the Torre Thesme, has been captured by this Valg that was trying to kill Irene. Why was he trying to kill Irene? Because they didn't want anyone to discover that with Irene's ability to heal, she could push out that darkness that kind of inhabited and the Valg planted inside of people through rings and collars. This Valg had introduced itself into one of the Cognate's daughters and princesses, which was also pregnant, and she was also the one who killed the princess that had committed suicide right before Kale and Nesrin arrived at Antica. So we reach the end of the novel. Irene's mentor has been captured, and they've just run down to the Torre because there are like tunnels there where they used to hide if there was kind of an attack to the city. And they find out that Duva has been kind of possessed, and she's been possessed by a Valg princess, because if there's a Valg queen, there are also Valg princesses. And oh my god, I feel like this princess was much more fierce than the princess Selena had to face at the end of Era of Fire. So there's all this battle, and Kale gets wounded, and he gets paralyzed again. And I was like, no, like, we haven't spent 500 pages, 500 freaking pages to reach the point where Kale was finally walking, and then he gets paralyzed again. Like, no, this cannot happen. So Kale was basically going to die, and kind of Irene and all the healers who arrive kind of start healing him. And this was kind of a really similar process to Akatar, where the Fae give Feyre kind of their abilities, because he kind of revives, but there was a tithe to that. And the tithe was when she has strength, Kale also does, and he can walk. However, when Irene uses too much of her power and she's kind of weak, Kale needs to use his wheelchair again. Oh my god, it was really sad, but at the same time really gratifying, because Kale realized that he didn't need to walk in order to be the man he was, and even a better man. That was just really fulfilling. Then there's also the process of the exorcism, which takes place to kind of push out the Valk Princess out of Duva, which was crazy because, oh my god. And at the end of this, kind of the Kagan, the king of Antica, asks Irene, like, you've saved my daughter, what do you want in return? And she asks him to send his troops to Aurelia to help in the war. They do so. In the next book, we're going to get Hussar, we're going to get Sartak, Nesrin, the giant eagle creatures, and I'm just so excited. However, the stakes are at their highest. The angst of this, how it ended with Sartak being named the heir because he faced his father and said, like, you know what, just do what you will, but I'm going to help my friends, I'm going to help Nesrin. And not only that, because Kale and Irene get married, freaking married. I can't believe this. My heart was just like skipping. That is all for this video today. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below if you've loved this book, if you haven't, if what you liked, what you didn't like, what you thought about the reveal of Maeve being the Valk Queen, what you think about just this situation of Kale and Irene being married. Like, what? Just let me know down below what you thought about it. I've got my links down below for my Goodreads, Instagram, and Twitter account if you're interested in following me there. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. Have a great day.